Gather round, people, as Detective Pete regales you with his second case of how he caught the missing teacher. This is another factual story in the Chronicles of Detective Pete. To give you some background on this story, when Detective Pete isn't working a case, he's managing a team of teachers at a busy downtown Bangkok school. Detective Pete runs a tight ship. Teachers must be at school at 7:30, and if they're not, Detective Pete has the right to cancel their class and deduct their pay. This process involves contacting Detective Pete's big boss, who rules with an iron fist. Now let's introduce our main antagonist. For the sake of this story, we'll call him Ken Adams. Ken is from England and he's been over here many years. He's a chirpy, friendly kind of guy. He's the type of guy that would go out of his way to help you. However, he is a bit of a late night Larry and does like to frequent Lower Sukhumvit Road of an evening. And he is known for coming into work feeling a little bit worse for wear, which, let's be honest, we can all relate to. Now the day in question was a Tuesday. It was an overcast day. There was a sense of unease in the air. Anyway, Detective Pete had arrived at the prompt time of 7:15. 7:30 comes and goes. No sign of Ken. Detective Pete checks Ken's schedule, sees that he has a class at 8:10. Now, there is a dilemma. Should Detective Pete call his boss and risk Ken getting sacked? Or should Detective Pete find Ken? Detective Pete never shies away from a case. The chase is on. Oh, hello there. You're still here. So Ken has 20 minutes until his first class. He hasn't arrived at school. Detective Pete is on the hunt. Word on the street is Ken lives very close to the school, within walking distance in fact. So Detective Pete trawls Ken's Instagram. Pictures galore. One of them could be interesting. It's of a chicken Caesar salad. In fact, it wasn't that useful in solving this case. It made me hungry, so I put it aside for later viewings. Two of the photos held promise. One was a zoo, the other a condo. I was sure he lived at one of these locations, so I made my way to the condo because it was closer. Upon arrival, I tricked the security guard to gain entry to the building with one very simple question. Can you please let me in? From previous conversations with Ken, I knew which floor he lived on. Now all I had to do was find the right room, which wouldn't be easy because they all had the same door, except there was something off about one of the doors. It wasn't the colour, they were all beige. It wasn't the handle. I just couldn't put my finger on it. And then it hit me. This door was wide open, just like this case. I peered into the room. I saw Ken asleep in the bed. He looked so peaceful, I didn't want to wake him. There was only 10 minutes before the start of his class, so it didn't leave me much choice. I called his name, he didn't stir. Banged on the wardrobe. That did the trick. Sprang out of bed like a jack-in-the-box. He looked in shock. Nobody wants to see Detective Pete standing at the foot of their bed. I said, "Get your ass to school." Having solved my case by locating the delinquent, I head back to school. 5 minutes later, and what must have been the world's fastest shower, Ken arrives. He's made it just in time for his first class. However, Detective Pete's big boss has heard of the whole affair and quizzes him. Detective Pete never lies. He's a man of his word, a man with integrity, a man with a suitcase. Ken and Detective Pete were summoned to a meeting where Ken received a formal warning. He did not lose his job on that day, thanks to the decisive actions of Detective Pete.